The following program does not offer personal medical advice. Please consult your doctor before using any treatment or product we cover. Welcome to Go to Health Media with your host, Jonathan Marks. We provide a welcoming environment where experts educate you on important health topics, answer your questions, and provide information from which you can benefit in consultation with your doctor. You can visit and subscribe to the show at gotohealthmedia.com. And now, here is Jonathan Marks. Hey everyone, great to see you. Welcome back to another show of Go to Health. We want to thank you so much for your support and interest in our show. We've just hit 1.1 million downloads and we're growing at 8,000 downloads per day. Thanks for being with us. We help you, the public, stay up to date on evidence-based health information, and we help health practices, nonprofits, and companies get their information out to larger audiences. You can subscribe to our show at gotohealthmedia.com so you don't miss an episode. You can also watch us on YouTube and listen to us on 8 podcast networks. We also have a new store with I Support Evidence-Based Medicine and Go to Health logo swag. Show the world you support evidence-based medicine and not conspiracy theories and unsubstantiated medical claims. You can visit our store at gotohealthmedia.com/store. So on to today's show. May is Better Hearing Month. Hearing loss is increasingly affecting younger generations, with the World Health Organization estimating that 1 billion young people worldwide are at risk of hearing loss due to unsafe listening practices. Studies also indicate that nearly 20% of teenagers currently have some level of hearing loss, often due to exposure to loud music and noise. Many individuals delay seeking help due to the stigma associated with hearing aids. Research indicates that nearly 60% of those with hearing loss feel embarrassed about their condition, often envisioning outdated, bulky devices. However, modern hearing aids are sleek, discreet, and equipped with advanced technology, including AI. For those who suspect hearing damage, annual hearing screenings are crucial for early detection and intervention. Untreated hearing loss can increase the risk of depression, cognitive decline, and overall quality of life. Our guest today is MJ DeSousa. She's an audiologist and director of patient experience at Beltone, with over 35 years of experience in hearing healthcare. She earned her Master's of Clinical Science in Audiology from Western University in London, Ontario, and has extensive experience as a practicing audiologist and in corporate leadership within the hearing industry. At Beltone, DeSousa is dedicated to educating hearing care professionals across North America, ensuring they provide the highest standard of patient care. So welcome to the show, MJ DeSousa. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. So first, tell us about Beltone and what your company does.
Yeah, I'm the Director of Patient Experience with Beltone, and we are a hearing healthcare company, and we have locations all throughout the U.S. And if you want to know more about our hearing aids or about our locations, we have a website, beltone.com, that has a lot of great information.
Good, great. So how significant is hearing loss in the United States, and why has it become so prevalent, especially among young people?
Yeah, there's some really alarming trends emerging, particularly among young people. And in fact, the World Health Organization estimates that about 1 billion young people are at risk for developing permanent but preventable hearing loss due to increased noise exposure. So, I mean, that's a very alarming trend, but also some good news in that it is preventable because it is linked to noise exposure.
Got it. That's a huge number of and we're talking about young people, not old people. So tell me, what are safe listening practices and how can one person protect their own hearing?
Yeah, safe listening practices, I mean, it all starts with awareness, just being aware of the noise in your environment. And, you know, what's putting young people at increased risk is related to the increased exposure to noise. You know, we're listening to music, podcasts, streaming entertainment content through ear level devices for more time than ever before. So we are getting that increased exposure.
So is it really just listening through earphones, as I'm doing as we speak, but is it also listening to loud music in clubs and boom boxes and that whole thing?
Yeah, it's all of that. I like to think of it as being aware of your daily noise dose.
Okay.
So, just being aware of all the sources of noise that are in your environment that you're being exposed to, because it's all cumulative. And when we talk about risk of noise damage, it really comes down to three factors. The first being how loud is the noise?
hmm
The second is how long are you exposed to it? So obviously, the louder the sound, the shorter the safe exposure time.
hmm
And then the third important factor that often gets overlooked is when you've been exposed to loud sounds, it's really important to give your ears a rest. And by rest, I mean be in a quieter environment for at least 24 hours following a loud exposure.
Wow. Okay. And how can we protect ourselves during really loud environments? What can we do to protect our hearing?
Wearing hearing protection is probably the simplest.
hmm
If you're going to be at a concert, you can get some foam earplugs that you can use. Or if you can't get earplugs, take breaks, leave the environment, be in a quieter environment, and then return. If it's listening to your smartphones or devices, one rule of thumb to gauge a safe listening level that I encourage people to use is to set the volume in a quiet environment and then have someone speak to you at a distance of about 2 to 3 feet. And if you're able to hear them, that's probably a safe listening level for that device. And each device is different.
hmm
But then once you go out into a noisier environment, it's really important to resist the temptation to turn up the volume. Although, I always say you have to be realistic. If your favorite song comes on, you can turn it up for the song, but don't forget to turn it back down.
Right. Got it. Okay. And when you talk about having your hearing device in, but listening to somebody 2 or 3 feet away, am I just hearing a muffled voice, or should I be able to hear them clearly to know that I've got safe enough volume in my ears?
You should be able to understand what they're saying. It might take a
Okay.
little bit more concentration, but you should be able to understand what they're saying.
Good.
And then that should be an indication that that's a good listening level.
Great. So let's talk about hearing checkups. What are hearing screenings like? Why are they important? Where can people go? How often should we be getting our hearing checked?
Great questions. Hearing screenings are really simple. They're quick, painless, so there should be no fear of getting a hearing screening. And it's so important to get your hearing screened because hearing loss typically develops very gradually, and we tend to adapt. And so we often don't become aware of the hearing loss until the loss is more significant. And that's why it's really important to get your hearing screened so that we identify any changes to your hearing early and can treat those changes early as well.
And how often should we get those screenings?
If you haven't had a hearing screening before, I would encourage you to get a hearing screening. And especially if you're noticing changes, even minor changes like you're struggling in noisy environments, or you find yourself fatigued after being in a noisier environment, I would encourage you to get a hearing screening.
hmm
And during the month of May, if you're interested in pursuing a hearing screening, you can go to beltone.com and schedule a free hearing screening at any of our locations throughout the US.
Oh, great. Good. When should people consider getting hearing aids? How do I know my hearing's gone that I really should? There's a stigma I think people have to wearing a hearing aid or being noticed as having lost hearing. When should we consider them, and when should we not resist the idea of wearing hearing aids?
Yeah, I would say as soon as you're noticing changes in your hearing, get it checked. And if you do have hearing loss, especially mild hearing loss, it's so important to treat it early. There's so many benefits to treating your hearing loss early. It's easier to adapt to hearing aids, but also there's some serious health consequences that we're learning more about the association with untreated hearing loss and the effectiveness of early intervention. So it's really important to treat it early.
So when we do start losing our hearing, what are some of those other side effects that can happen?
Yeah, we're learning more and more every day about some of the risks associated with untreated hearing loss. Some of those include increased risk of cognitive decline
Hmm.
due to untreated hearing loss. And we're also learning now that if you treat hearing loss, particularly mild hearing loss, it's now been linked with lower disease progression in dementia, and also potential links to preventing dementia. So that's a really important link there. Untreated hearing loss has also been associated with increased risk of falls. So for older people, that can mean fractures, which can be devastating and can lead to a loss of independence. So it's really important to treat your hearing loss for that reason as well. And other areas, if you think about it, when you're living with untreated hearing loss, you're essentially in a state of sensory deprivation, and you're missing out on a lot of those environmental sounds. And you can be struggling in noisier situations, which can cause people to avoid those situations, which leads to social isolation, which has been linked to increased rates of depression as well. So lots of really important reasons to get your hearing checked and to treat any hearing loss early.
Should I be getting my hearing checked like once a year? Is that sufficient?
Yeah, I would say for adults 50 and older, get it checked at least once. And if your hearing is fine, then I'd say maybe once every 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
but make
good.
sure that you're getting it checked regularly. And if you do notice changes, get it checked right away.
Got it. And so how are modern hearing aids different? And how are they helping reduce stigma?
Yeah, we often have this perception of hearing aids as being big, bulky, ineffective, squealing devices. And modern hearing aids couldn't be further from that. Modern hearing aids are incredible devices. They use advanced digital technology. Many of them use AI, and they also have connectivity with all of our modern devices as well. So you can stream music, you can stream phone calls direct to your hearing aids, you can connect to your TV. So there's a lot of functionality that's available in modern hearing aids that we didn't have before. There's also huge improvements in terms of the sound quality. They sound more natural than they ever have before and perform better in noisy environments. The noise reduction in modern hearing aids is phenomenal. So if you're struggling in noisy environments, I would really encourage you to check out modern hearing aids. And then just in terms of the aesthetics, they're much sleeker, lighter, and much more comfortable to wear than the older devices.
Good. And are these hearing aids, do we wear these do we put them in, take them out? We wear them 24/7. How do you wear a hearing aid?
Yeah, I would encourage people who have hearing loss to, when you get up in the morning, put your hearing aids on and wear them all day. Mm-hmm. And they are comfortable to wear them for that amount of time. They also most hearing aids today are rechargeable, and the battery life is incredible. The battery life is in excess of 24 hours. So you're not going to have any difficulty wearing them for a full day. And then you would take them out at night while you sleep.
Got it. And you mentioned we can go to learn more at beltone.com, and that's Beltone, Beltone. And you've got locations around the country where people can learn about hearing aids and buy them?
Yes, absolutely. And if you go to beltone.com, you can get information on a Beltone location in your community.
Got it. Great. And just going back to this crisis, in loss of hearing among young people, how often should young people get their hearing checked? Or how do parents work with their kids to keep their hearing healthy and safe?
Yeah, fortunately, in a lot of states now, we have infant hearing screening programs. So babies are getting checked so that we know how they're hearing from birth. But then it's important to get your hearing checked throughout your life. So once they become school age, it would be important to get it checked at least once. If everything is fine, then maybe again once they start high school. Just because of the amount of exposure kids are getting nowadays, it's important to monitor it periodically throughout their childhood.
Good. So we've been talking today with MJ DeSousa. She's an audiologist and she's the director of patient experience at Beltone, about the importance of protecting your hearing, getting it checked on a regular basis, and considering modern hearing aids when necessary. Thanks for being with us today, MJ.
Thanks for having me.
Good. Remember, you can subscribe to us on our website at gotohealthmedia.com so you don't miss a show. You can also watch us on YouTube and listen to us on 8 podcast networks. And remember, if you support evidence-based medicine, you can buy logo hats, t-shirts, mugs, bottles that show your support at gotohealthmedia.com/store. Thanks for being with us today. This is Jonathan Marks from Go to Health Media. And remember, as we say at the end of every show, go to health. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. thank you for tuning in this week to Go to Health Media. Be sure to join Jonathan Marks and another health expert next time. You can also catch the program on your favorite podcast platform. Until our next show, be sure to visit us on the web at gotohealthmedia.com and elevate your life.